Hey Chris, how are you today, mate?
Yeah, good. So?
Not too bad, thank you. My name's Brian. I'll be your counsellor there. Thanks so much for coming along.
That's alright.
What have you been up to lately before we get into everything?
Just a lot of fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that one of your hobbies, or are you into like any football or?
Yeah. I mean, fishing when footy's along, basically. That's how.
Oh, that's the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So I just thought before we get into everything, I just thought I might explain the confidentiality of what Windsor supplies and provides. Obviously, through the duty of care, we want to make sure that you are feeling secure with all the information you're giving us, and that it won't go out to anybody except remain in between us for our sessions.
Yep.
To go along with this, I just thought I might get you to have a look at this. And are you kind of familiar with what confidentiality is?
Yeah.
So with Windsor, we just want to make sure that you know that none of your information that you provide to me will be used in any negative way. It'll only be used to put straight into your file any notes that I'm allowed to put down in our sessions. Which, are you okay with that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that'll just go straight into your file, and the only time that we will ever anyone else will see that is if like my supervisor asks me to, show him progress, just so he can kind of compare my service with you and try and, do better.
Yeah.
And obviously provide you with a better experience down the line, as well as everyone else. We always feed off improvement, and we always want to try and do better than we did yesterday for you guys, because you're coming in with a lot of information that is very, very close to your heart, and you're supplying that, and we're trying to help you, so we want to help you as the best as possible. So if you mind just looking over this and just signing that, but if you have any questions, either before you sign that or down the line, absolutely no worries, we'll make sure to do that to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And okay, Chris, so I just thought we jump into what's led you to come to counselling. Obviously take the time with this. I know it is a very sensitive topic for anybody that was to be in your position. But if you could just kind of elaborate on and describe what's going on of late that's kind of made you seek counselling. Just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, me and my partner we split up, and we have 2 kids together, and all this responsibility of being a single parent and going through that and everything, I felt like my emotions are all coming out wrong, and my kids are being affected by it, and I don't want it to impact them later on in life. So it's just been rough. I haven't been dealing with it right, and I don't want it to affect my kids, so I just thought it'd be the best thing to do.
Absolutely. And what age are your kids?
They're 14 and 6.
Okay. So they're in the development stages, so they're struggling a bit with how have they been affected with the kind of breakup between you and your ex-wife?
Yeah, it's been a lot of shunning, kind of going to their rooms, not talking much. Obviously, sad. You can tell that they're sad, and they just don't understand, and I'm trying my best, to provide and be there for them, and be there for them emotionally. But
you're trying to block out your emotions so you can stay brave for them.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
But then it all builds up, and it just comes out wrong, and I just
Absolutely. So, have you ever heard of it's called the Erickson's cognitive development theory?
No.
No. So there's 8 stages in that, and you and I, we're going through a stage at the moment as well. Like in that 8 stages, as well as your kids are going. You said 6 and 14, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going through 2 separate ones as well. So you usually got 8. So there's one that's from infantry. So that is from 0 to about 2, and what they're all about is that they're trying to trust the world. So when a baby is in that development stage, they're relying on trust. They need mum to breastfeed them. They need to be fed. They need to be dressed. So they're really all about trying to find trust in the world. You know, they rely on people to stay alive. Okay, Chris, so have you ever heard about Erickson's development theory?
No.
No. So what that basically is that it means that from birth to all the way, you know, until you pass away, your brain is always developing. You're always at some sort of stage, and there's 8 stages over what Erickson has described in life. So the first one comes from when you're from birth to 18 months, and what that is it's called the stage of trust versus mistrust. And what that means is that the child is kind of is relying on people, and if they don't get that reliability, then that changes, you know, the development after that stage, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you know, a baby relies on trust because, you know, they need to be fed, they can't feed themselves, they can't dress themselves, they need to be cleaned, they need to, you know, all that stuff. I just thought I might describe all of them just so you've got a big picture of it, and then we'll go through, like, obviously there'll be outlines where your stage is and where my stage is and where your kids' stages are as well. The second stage is called autonomy versus shame and doubt, and what that basically is that this is when this is from 18 months to 3 years. So this is when kind of kids start to go to preschool and they kind of start learning about. No, that's not it. Fuck. Okay, hold on. So the second stage is all about autonomy versus shame and doubt. So that is basically where a kid is basically trying to realise what they're all about and what's wrong, what's right, kind of thing, if that makes sense. So obviously your kids are past that stage, but any of these stages, it can affect the personal growth of a human being, and that's why we're all kind of different in a way. So the third stage is from 3 to 5 years old. This is when they start to go to kindergarten and they start to learn about initiative. So initiative versus guilt. So like if they hurt someone, you know, that's guilt, or, you know, they've got initiative to be able to do something, if that makes sense. Like they've got certain roles that they can be in the world, and they're starting to really learn that. From 5 to 12 years old, so that'll be when your youngest one is in currently. That is all about industry and inferiority. And so what that is basically about is that it's coming together. You know, she's in a school. He or she is in a school environment. They're trying to learn about what's going on in the world. And the next one will be where your other son is, from 12 to 18, where identity and confusion comes into part. So they're trying to learn about what they want to be when they grow up and what they can, you know, they're trying to learn about all these different things because, you know, as you become an adolescent, it's kind of, what are you going to be? What's the pressure? What's all this? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was where, you know, our age bracket kind of comes into play. It's from between 18 and 40. It's intimacy and isolation. So you usually see in this kind of area a lot of people that, you know, you're kind of learning about your relationships and your, like, not that aren't just family relationships, they're other relationships, intimacy, sexual, all that stuff, and identity in your own world. So it's your own kind of adventure, and this can happen for the 22 years of that stage, Erickson says. So so that can shape everything as well. From 40 to 65, there's generatively and stagnation. So that's basically when you're starting to get a bit older, but it's basically taking care of your kids, learning, maybe helping and volunteering for charities or something like that. And 65 onwards is integrity versus despair. So you're kind of overlooking your life at that stage and kind of winding down, and kind of looking back at everything you've done in life and kind of taking the retirement way of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you got any questions on that one?
No.
So where do you think Where do you think your kids are at currently with those? Does that kind of fit the criteria of where they are? And,
Yeah.
and what do you think, where, with your stage, not focusing on your kids too much, but on your stage of, where did I say, intimacy versus isolation, do you think you're in that kind of stage in life? And, you know, you've obviously already had a wife and all that. So what do you think's like kind of, what's your goal in the next, like, let's say 5 years to your own personal growth?
Well, I want to treat my kids better,
Yeah.
obviously, but I want to feel better myself.
Yeah.
You know, my wife, ex-wife, she was a bit abusive, and you know, it just really took a toll on me, and I feel like I haven't been dealing with it, so I've become abusive myself, and I've kind of isolated myself away from people, you know, and yeah, it's just not working with my kids.
Yeah. Okay. So would you say like do you think you're doing a good job at parenting? Because like, you know, it is very difficult to do single parenting, but also I think you've done the right thing, kind of coming to counselling and like realising that, you know, it's taken a toll on you, and I'm sure it's taken a toll on your kids with the breakup between you and your ex-wife, sorry, but like, yeah, I think it's the better